folks, it's Nito with AP 2020 Outdoors. Man, I tell you what, I'm a very patient man. I've been waiting on FedEx guy to show up. I ordered a 12 volt DC to 120 volt AC inverter for my car. Anyways, I got the high-speed camera set up. I'm pretty pumped about this video. This is actually a dress rehearsal. Tomorrow I'm actually going to do the gel shot test, but today we're going to shoot some fruit. Stay tuned. Alright folks, so here's the setup. I built a little stand to hold the sheet metal, and I actually did some research, and from my understanding the FBI spec is two 20 gauge sheets for a total of 0.0718 inch thick, and so I sandwiched 5 28 gauge and I got 0.0745. I've got a cantaloupe behind there. I'm going to shoot the Lehigh Defense 65 grain XD bullet first. I hope that turned out. Alright folks, if we look at the damage on the fruit, the Federal Hydra Shok 380 on the sheet metal test, I would say that's a failure. You know, that the hollow point design, when it hit the sheet metal, it just essentially became a full metal jacket. In fact, we can, check this out, I got a tactical knife now, right on. We can actually just section this. We'll section it this way. Yeah, see, there's hardly any damage whatsoever. The entrance was there, exit there. Just one big, one pinprick hole through the cantaloupe. Whereas the Lehigh Defense, that's the entrance right there. You know, there's a lot of force being generated when you get splits like that in fruit. There's the exit. So we'll go ahead and section it this way. You can definitely tell there's a pretty tremendous wound channel through that cantaloupe. Now, obviously, on the watermelon, this is the Federal Hydra Shok. Did some pretty serious damage. Of course, if you're going to be hunting or shooting any naked watermelons, I guess that'd be a good bullet of choice. I don't even have to cut that open. It did a pretty good number on that watermelon. Let's see if the Lehigh Defense. Once again, you get that classic. That's the entrance, folks, and that's just indicative of all that hydraulic pressure being generated by the flutes. In fact, that's a perfect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from a 4-flute projectile, fluid transfer monolithic. Let's go ahead and section this in half. If I can do this halfway decent. That's a pretty massive wound cavity right there. Pretty much what you see in ballistic gelatin, about 2.5 to 3 inches in diameter. Alright folks, it's Nito with AP 2020 Outdoors. Hope you all enjoyed the video as much fun as I had producing it. Like I said, this was a kind of a dress rehearsal for tomorrow's video. I'm actually going to do the same 2 bullets in ballistic gel. Stay tuned. Alright folks, this is the next morning. One thing that I had some audio difficulties on that one clip. And I just wanted to explain further why I chose the sheet metal FBI spec, because I think aside from the windshield glass, sheet metal is probably the hardest barrier to, quote, defeat. And I don't know so much if defeat is a definitive term. Maybe I should say barrier blind. And one thing that I found out is that hollow points, by their very nature, what happens is when they impact sheet metal, they actually form a cup. And not a plug, but a cup that actually encases the entire nose of the bullet, effectively turning it into a full metal jacket. Whereas the Lehigh Defense, this hole right here, you'll see that it just punched right through. It is truly barrier blind. So I've got the ballistic gel set up, 10%. Just got out of my fridge 5 minutes ago. Put the temp gauge on it. It was floating right at 40.5 to 41 degrees. We should be within spec. Let's go ahead and shoot it. So I'm going to shoot the Lehigh Defense 65 grain XD first, and then followed up by the Federal 90 grain Hydra Shok. All right, cross your fingers, hope I captured that. Alright folks, if we look at what happened, the Federal Hydra Shok achieved 11.25 inches of penetration. The permanent wound cavity is roughly 7/8 of an inch in diameter. And you know, I walked up to this and look at this. There's that plug I was talking about. That plug was formed when the Federal Hydra Shok hollow point was trying to punch through the sheet metal. Got the tactical hemostats. Let's go ahead and extract the bullet without damaging the block too much. Alright, so there's a bullet right there. In fact, if you look, you can see where the hollow point plugged. Let's go ahead and go over to the side of the Lehigh Defense. So if we look at the Lehigh Defense permanent wound cavity, that's typical of the 380 offering. It's roughly 2.25 inches in diameter. Had a stretch cavity of roughly 8.5 inches. Overall penetration was right at 14 inches, all within the FBI spec. We'll go ahead and extract the bullet. There you go. Alright folks, if we look closely at what happened to the Federal HST, typical hollow point, the sheet metal plugged the hollow point, actually formed a cup, which prevented the hollow point from expanding as intended. The Lehigh Defense had some damage on the flutes, just on the point of impact, but the flutes, probably 75% of the flutes remained intact, and they caused the fluid transfer monolithic hydro damage. Alright folks, well I'll tell you what, I pretty much expected these results. You know, I could have chosen any other hollow point design, and I can pretty much guarantee you that they will all fail in the sheet metal test. You know, I'm not out to hurt anybody's feelings, you know, because I think you all are pretty much grown up, right? And stay tuned, I am doing a definitive test pitting the Lehigh Defense 90 grain XD 9mm versus the Federal HST hollow point. Oh yes, the holy grail of 9mm bullets. Stay tuned. This is Nito with AP 2020 Outdoors. Hope you all enjoyed the video.